You have to know your competition. You have to know whether it's a national chain brokerage or a small mom and pop that basically just puts their own signs and waits to double dip it. So you need to drive that area. You need to know what competition, what other properties that are similarly have similar characteristics, and what their prices are. You have to know if it's unoccupied or occupied. You have to know if it's occupied by a tenant or by the owner. Reason being, when you go through the eviction process, who are you going to evict? The person on the tax record or the person who's actually occupying the property? You need to know that, because if they go due to the eviction and the bailiffs come to the property and you're evicting the borrower when really there's a tenant or someone who has a sublease from the prior tenant, you're just prolonging the process, and those are all reasons why you're going to lose that listing, because you were not precise in going to that property and finding out the exact amenities of it. Your current market value, it's going to change every day, whether it's Wall Street or a bad storm or vandalism. You need to know that current market value, and you have to be abreast of that, because when those asset managers call, because their bosses are saying, get us a final price, we're ready to move on this one, what's it worth today? You got to be able to say, listen, it was worth $300,000 last week. All the windows have been stolen out of the property. There's no copper left in it, and the HVAC is gone. All right? You have to know how much the replacement cost is and what that does to the current market value. Agent duties, a lot of the same things. You have to take extensive photos, detailed notes. You have to know your immediate competition. It's very important to also know for sale by owner properties what they're going for. Been finding lately a lot of industrial properties. I'm going to them. We have a beautiful building leased by a national company or a great tenant. Tenants don't even realize that their landlords are in default. Tenants have been paying on time, and they're actually showing me documentation, showing me direct deposits to the landlords. But the banks aren't getting paid, and they're in default. So I need to know what the vacancy rate is, utility costs, if there's debris at a property. I went to an industrial property last week. There's easily 7 to 9 40-yard dumpsters worth of just junk left behind. Banks don't want that there. It's going to cause mold and moisture problems. It's going to cause animal infestation. You need to get rid of that stuff. The bank's going to say, well, how much? In residential REO, there's a couple national companies such as Safeguard that they take care of the majority of the property debris and the debris removal. In commercial, it's a blessing, and I'll get into this a little bit later. You need to have someone on staff that will help you out with rekeys, with board ups, with tenant eviction, with photos. Those are all property preservation characteristics where, as a commercial REO agent, you are going to need to know your market, know your property, have your local insight, and not only benefit the lender with their asset, but you need to know how to take care of it and properly manage it. And you're not going to get these listings unless you can handle that asset from start to finish, from the eviction stage all the way through debris removal to listing and selling the property. Listing and selling it, if it gets to that stage, that's great. All right, you need to be able to manage it from start to finish. Starting out with the property, honestly, I got 21 listings last month. 9 of those were last week. Actually, this month. 9 of those were last week. All 9 of those were transfers from huge REO agents. One of the agents sold over 600 properties last year. The other agent sold over 800. Am I jealous of their volume in residential? Absolutely. Not in commercial, though. They don't have the ability to properly handle these assets from start to finish. You need to know how many parking spaces, if the heating and cooling system's still in place, and what type of condition the roof is in. Plumbing and electrical is huge. In Detroit, which obviously our market's a little bit different, with the metal prices last year from gold to copper, I mean, people were stealing conductors from industrial buildings. Chrysler plants were getting robbed of any copper, whether it was in a 1,000-volt electrical box. People were getting electrocuted just to get the little bit of copper to bring it to the scrapyard. This picture didn't come out very well. This is actually a template of an executed BPO. This is one I did last week, and It's of a small, a 16,000 square foot industrial building. I think everyone will get a copy of this, whoever signs up. I think Ray will email this to you. This is one I did last week. It was perfect, and it was a transfer from a huge residential agent. You need to do 3 comps, 3 sold comps and 3 active comps, 20 to 30 miles, 2 miles, whatever it may be in your market. That is very individualized to that exact listing that you have. The one thing to note on the lower right-hand side of the screen, after you break all the numbers, all the boring stuff down, what's the price per square foot? That's all the bank wants to know. They don't care about pictures because they trust you. They don't care about anything else. What they need to know is what is your sold price per square foot and what is your active price per square foot. For this exact property, they all came to $5 per square foot for a turnkey industrial building that has $5 a square foot, and I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I could have went to 3. All right, we listed it for $81,000, but right across the board, I have the sold price per square foot is $5, the active price per square foot is $5, and the reconciled market value, $5 a square foot. You know, that's in competition with everybody. I have another 40,000 square foot building right now at $1 a square foot. All right, it's amazing, but it's true. Banks don't want to hear you tell them that their building's worth $100,000 when it's worth $10,000. They don't care. You're not going to be the better broker by telling them, oh, it's worth more money, I'll sell it for more. Because 4 months down the road, 8 months down the road, 2 years down the road, when they still have that dilapidated asset on their hands, you're going to look bad. You're going to lose your entire inventory, not only with that asset manager, but with that bank. To do and what not to do. You need to know your specialty, and you need to know your client. When I say client, you need to know that bank, what forms they accept, and basically what's acceptable to their underwriters who are evaluating that asset to price it and to dispose of it. Accuracy is extremely important. Again, you don't want to overprice something. You're not going to underprice it, but you don't want to overprice it. You need to know your competition. When I say competition, I'm talking about the active properties that are on the market. You don't want to be in the middle of, you don't want to be the highest and you don't want to be the lowest, okay? If you're stuck in the middle somewhere, you're doing something wrong. You need to be as accurately priced as possible. You need to know what local laws of that listing is in. Last week, we had a truck drive by, a beautiful building. We just signed a deal with Tim Hortons, which is a big donut and coffee company. I think they're only in the Northeast right now. We just signed a great deal with them. They're demoing the building. We received over $5,000 worth of fines last week because $1,500 per day for every day our board was on a window that was broken by a truck driving by and a rock hit it. You need to know those laws. You need to become friends with those local inspectors. You need to get your business card, your face, and your company name in front of them, because when they drive by and they see your name on that building, they're going to give you the courtesy of calling and saying, hey, James, I know your building. I know you guys fixed it up. I know you boarded it up and secured it, but now you need your window company to come replace that pane of glass that would have cost you $300 that just cost you over $5,000.